Present.
Commissioner Campbell. Commissioner Blower.
Excuse.
Here.
Commissioner Jewell.
Present.
Commissioner Cook-Hawkins. Commissioner Sorensen. Commissioner Jordan.
Present.
Commissioner Wesley.
Present. We have a quorum. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell,
Okay.
and there are a number of changes to the agenda. If you look at the agenda that's before us, under what is listed as G, case reviews, all of those listed there are actually public hearings. So all of those PC 2381, 385, 386, and 387 need to be moved down onto public hearings. And question I have to staff is, have notifications gone out appropriately to those in the areas for that public hearing?
This is Bill Vandercook. There has been notifications for these public hearings. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I just wanted to double check since they were listed under case review. Additionally, if we go down to J for resolutions, per our last meeting on September 22nd, we should have listed on resolutions PC or Planning Commission revised bylaws and adoption. And that was per recommendation of the attorney, since we had been reviewing the revised bylaws in the past, and we will be reviewing those and making a resolution of adoption. Additionally, if we go down to old business, the last item that says orientation booklets, I think it's appropriate to retitle that PC, Planning Commission Member Orientation Packet Status. Not booklets, but Planning Commission Member Orientation Packet Status. And those, I think, are the ones that I have. And Mr. Chair, prior to the opening of SPR 20-936, I'm just going to ask for a clarification from you.
Okay,
Otherwise, those...
Opening of which one? Oh, SPR? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prior to the presentation of SPR 20-936, I'm just going to ask for an informational clarification from you as chair. Otherwise, those are the items that I have noted for changes to the agenda.
Okay. Any other additions or changes to the agenda?
Commissioner Wesley, this. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I was just going to request, Chairman Wesley, that we add under new business, the I-475 planning.
Okay. It's there. Any other additions or changes to the agenda?
Commissioner Wesley, this is Suzanne.
Suzanne?
I wanted to add under new business, the status of the Island Street vacation, which Planning Commission approved, give you an update on that.
Status Street. Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. Wouldn't that be more appropriately placed under case review? Since it was something that...
before.
Yeah, because it was something that was presented to us, and we made a decision on it. And I think Suzanne is correct in the sense that she's bringing it back to us as a review and an update.
Okay, let me, Island Street, was it?
Correct. Yes.
Island Street vacation. Okay, under case review. Are there any other additions or changes to the agenda? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. I'll make a motion to approve adoption of the agenda as noted with revisions.
Do I hear support?
Support.
Moved and
Mr.
properly.
Ryan.
Okay, Mr. Ryan. It's moved and properly supported. All in favor of the approval of the agenda, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposers have the same right. The agenda has been approved. Minutes of September 22nd, 2020. Are there any additions or changes to the minutes of September 22nd, 2020?
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. If we were to go to page 5 of the minutes, and if we look the third paragraph down from the top, the last sentence says, explained how they would deal with waste following state regulations. I think the intent was strict, not stick, but strict.
State regulations, okay.
Then if we go to the bottom of page 5, the third line up from the bottom, where it says the city council's agenda, period, Commissioner Jewell asked, what if the public starts asking why these, and I think it should be item, but items, plural.
Are not being
And then
addressed.
Yeah, are not being addressed. And then if we continue with the next sentence, what if the media starts raising the questions? I think we need to just delete the starts raising questions, question mark.
All
Just
right,
some
now you
grammatic.
The they're out. Is it what if media?
What if the media starts raising, eliminate the word the, so it would read, what if the media starts raising questions,
Okay.
question mark. Just some grammatical items.
Any other additions or changes to the agenda? I
To
mean,
the minutes.
The minutes.
Chairman Wesley, this is Commissioner Jordan. I had one on page 6 of 7 under old business. I don't know if that might be a timestamp there, but it just says 3:14. So I think that needs to be taken out. And then I do have a request. I don't know if it's possible to make the changes on these minutes or if it's just something that we need to take a look at going forward. But one of the things I noticed this time is that in pretty much all of the motions, it just says, who the maker of the motion was, who seconded it, and then the motion carried. And I know that when we do a vote like we just did for adoption of the agenda, you just say all in favor and the motion carries. But I think it's important on the ones where we actually have a roll call vote to record who was in favor and who was opposed or abstained. Because if we ever need to reconsider it or something like that, it's got to be somebody that prevails with the motion in order to make that reconsideration motion. So just a note there for any of the roll call votes.
Mr. Chair, this is Kelly Thompson.
Yes.
I would agree with Commissioner Jordan on that, and I can go over that with Bill about how to indicate that in minutes going forward. I think that's a good idea for all votes and all types of votes, whether it's roll call or by voice vote. So I can go over that with Bill for future minutes.
Okay. Any other additions or corrections to the September 22nd minutes? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes.
This is Commissioner Jewell. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected for September 22nd.
It's been moved. Do I hear support?
Support, Commissioner Ryan.
It's moved and properly supported. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 It appears to be Commissioner Blower. Were you in support of the approval of the minutes?
Ayed.
Are you ayed? Okay.
I did. Yes, in
Okay.
support.
Okay. It appears to be unanimous. Bill? Okay. Moving right along. Next item on our agenda is a public forum. The public is invited to take part on anything appearing on our agenda this evening. If there's anyone in the public that wish to address the commission, I'd like to draw your attention to some rules of addressing this commission on this new Zoom era. When addressing this commission, you must address the commission directly on all comments to the commission. All comments should be directly toward the commissioners. Speaker shall refrain from the use of any profanity or personal attacks, and the speaker shall limit their comments to 3 minutes. Members of the public may address the commission on any items on the agenda, but the chairman reserves the right to, on the public hearing reserve any speaking on the public hearing until the time designated during the public hearing, if you're talking about something there. After your 3 minutes, you have to discontinue your address to the commission. If not, you'll be ruled out of order and your time will be suspended. Is there anyone in the public wishing to address the commission? Anyone wishing to address the commission on items appearing on our agenda this evening?
Something that we, for callers tuning in, if you want to speak, please click *9 to raise your hand so we can unmute you. We have there is a caller 202, we have ending in 0169. If you want to press *6 to unmute yourself.
Okay. Is the caller there?
They're there, but they're not able to unmute themselves.
Caller, can you hear us?
Again, to unmute yourself, you would need to click *6.
Okay.
Nothing else?
KZ, anyone else on the line?
No.
Anyone wishing to address the commission? Anyone wishing to address the commission? That portion of the public hearing is now closed. Next item on the agenda is site plan review. Commissioner Jewell, you said you wanted some clarification prior to
Yes.
to call this meeting.
Yeah, this is directed to you as the chair. I think each one of us received an email from staff regarding this evening's meeting, as well as this upcoming site plan review, which was on our agenda for our last meeting, which was canceled. There was inference in the email to each of us that if we had any questions or concerns, for us to pass those on to them so that that could then be passed on to the applicant. I understand from the email that they're working on a timeline. I do have some concerns about the appropriateness of us as individual commissioners passing on questions or concerns prior to the actual presentation. It might not only be inappropriate, but it might also violate possibilities of conflict of interest, or I think the thing is ex parte or whatever it may be. I do know that staff does review, puts together a checklist, and then hopefully provides information to the applicant regarding any missing information. So I just wanted to bring that to light regarding transparency, so that we're all working in unison, Mr. Chair.
Noting that in my thoughts here, that we might be setting a precedent here in doing such, I would like to hear some of the other commissioners if they have any thoughts along that line. And I'd also like to know if any of the commissioners responded to the planning staff questions in advance, and if so, how we should deal with those questions. Any thoughts from the commissioners?
This is Commissioner Jordan. And I did copy you in a response, Chairman Wesley, that I just sent to Suzanne this morning. And my understanding is that there's a standing practice of staff following up with applicants ahead of the meeting regarding any site plan checklist items. And so the text of my email was short and sweet. The site plan review checklist includes information marked in the no column. One of the district dimensional requirements shown for setbacks isn't met. I'm guessing staff has already raised those questions with the applicant as part of the usual process, ? So that was what I sent to Suzanne. I know that we had a situation a few meetings back where it was reiterated that the standard process is for staff to respond to applicants regarding any checklist items. And so I was just seeking to confirm that understanding.
Mr. Chair, can I respond?
Yes, go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, so as long as we aren't meeting with more than a quorum, it's not a violation of the Open Meetings Act. So it is common practice for commission members to raise issues with staff regarding applications on a one-on-one basis prior to the meeting. And that way we can resolve issues before we get to the public meeting. And then regarding ex parte contact, that deals more with communications with the applicant.
Directly to the applicant, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah. That's a problem here. Commissioner Blauer, you have any comments on that?
What Corey had said, I was under the understanding that we could have communication with staff,
Right.
as long as we're not in a quorum forum, having meetings outside of our meeting. And I, agreed with Elizabeth's comments as well.
Okay. Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, I have a question basing the setback in the information that I received, that the error was on the city side, and they had it was an error on their part. I would like a clarification on the setback.
Okay, that's something we would deal with when we start reviewing the site plan. The comments now was what Commissioner Jewell thought, that that the memo that went out for commissioners to respond prior to the meeting,
Okay.
but it's to staff. I don't see a problem going to staff because that's when we send out those, they sent out the checklist. If it's something in that checklist that we don't understand and want clarification on, we could send that back to staff and not, as long as we're not communicating directly to the applicant here.
Well, that's the reason I asked the question, because if it's on our part, all we need is a clarification that it was straightened out. But okay, whenever you see fit,
Okay.
I'll ask it.
To the attorney, Ms. Thompson, do you have you want to weigh in on this?
Mr. Chair, I think that Mr. Christensen explained it properly. The ex parte communications would be any communications directly from a commission member to the applicant. And then as far as the Open Meetings Act goes, as long as commission members are replying only to the planning staffer as opposed to hitting reply all, then it's not considered a communication or deliberations of the commission being the whole body. So as long as the communication is one-on-one directly to planning staff and through planning staff, then that's entirely appropriate.
Okay, very well. Commissioner Jewell, that satisfied, will that clarify things for you?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to discuss the issue, that there was a sense of transparency, so that if for some strange reason the issue is raised at a future point, we can address the fact that it was discussed, it was brought to fruition, and that it was appropriately clarified. That was my primary intent.
Okay, very well. So we'll call SPR 20936 Goyat requesting a site plan review at 3842 Gorse Ave, parcel number 4109427-023. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead. Tell us about your site plan review here.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Joel. Could the applicant introduce themselves, please?
Okay.
Leif Johnson. I'm the general manager of the service department at Goyat Mechanical.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Kelly Thompson.
Yeah, Kelly.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. There's something that we need to address, and we could do it now or after the site plan review is completed, but it's pursuant to the amendment to the Open Meetings Act. There's just a brief statement that I need to read, and then a statement from each commission member. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just got this from our chief legal officer, so I wanted to bring it up as soon as possible. So like I said, we can do it now or after the site plan review.
Okay, Kelly, let's do it now.
Okay. So this was approved by the City of Flint Board and Commission's procedures on conducting an electronic meeting. All boards and commissions must adhere to all laws established under the Michigan compiled laws and in accordance with the revisions to the Open Meetings Act adopted in Senate Bill 1108 as passed on October 13th, 2020 and signed into law on October 16th, 2020. So at the beginning of each remote meeting, or as we're doing now, a public announcement shall be made by each member that is attending the meeting remotely that he or she is attending the meeting remotely. If the members attending the meeting remotely, with the exception of military duty, the member must identify specifically the member's physical location by stating one of the following from where he or she is attending the meeting remotely. So that can be the county, the township, or the village and the state. So county, township, or village along with the state in which the member is attending the meeting. So if that, if we could go through each commission member and have them state where, first, if they're appearing remotely, and then second, their location.
So home is not one of them things that we consider, right?
You could say home, and then you could add the city and the state where your home is located. You don't need to provide the whole address, but city or county and then the state.
So you can go Genesee, state of Michigan?
Correct.
Okay.
So if Bill, if you want to go through the roll call and have each member, or Mr. Chair, if you want to go through each member,
Yeah.
we can do it that way.
Bill, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Commissioner Wesley.
Okay, let's do a roll and just go down for the members present. Say we're attending Zoom meeting and from there.
Okay. Commissioner Ryan, city,
Yes,
county, and
sir.
state.
Did you say date?
I'm sorry.
Today is the
No. You said.
today is the 27th of October. I'm in Flint, Genesee County, state of Michigan.
And Commissioner Ryan, you are appearing remotely, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
So that
thank
has
you.
to be said correctly.
Yes, that
okay.
you're appearing remotely and then the county and state in which you're located now.
Okay, I am appearing remotely from Flint County, Genesee, state of Michigan. Commissioner Ryan.
Commissioner Blauer, are you remotely appearing?
I'm appearing remotely, City of Flint, Genesee County, Michigan.
Commissioner Jewell, are you appearing remotely?
Yes, this is Commissioner Jewell. I'm appearing remotely, City of Flint, Genesee County, State of Michigan.
Commissioner April Cook Hawkins, Commissioner Sorensen, Commissioner Jordan, are you
Commissioner
appearing
Jordan?
remotely?
Yep, appearing remotely from Flint, Genesee County, Michigan.
Commissioner Wesley, are you appearing remotely?
Commissioner Wesley, I'm appearing remotely, Flint, Genesee County, Michigan. I want to get Flint in there a couple of times.
Yeah.
So. Okay, well, that's just commissioners now. Do staff have to do the same? Ms. Thompson or not?
No, Mr. Chair, it's only for the commission members. Thank you, and I apologize again for the interruption.
Have we satisfied that?
Yes, we have. Thank you.
And we have to do it every meeting, is that correct?
At the beginning of every meeting, yes. So we can just include that with roll call.
Right, we'll do that at time of roll call. I'll make a note of that.
Thank you.
Back to Goyat, and I didn't get the applicant's name who was making the presentation. We're back to Goyat SPR 20936, Goyat requesting a site plan review at 3842 Gory Ave. Okay, the applicant, if you state your name for the record, please, again. Appreciate
Leaf.
that.
Yep. Leaf, L-E-I-F. My last name is Johnson. And I'm the general manager of the service division at Goyat.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, go ahead and tell us about your site plan here.
We're looking to put a 2-story addition on the front of our existing building. It's approximately 7,400 square foot. The addition is when it's complete. Adding dispatch area, offices, conference and training room.
Is that the building we can see off of Center Road?
Yes, sir.
Looking back in there on Glory Street, okay. That's a 7,400 addition to that, the front of that building?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions from the commission to the applicant?
Mr. Chair, can I speak regarding the setback issue?
Yes, that's what Mr. Ryan was thought he was gonna answer, but go ahead, Corey.
Okay, so the issue, this was an error on staff's part, not the applicant, and Elizabeth Jordan brought it to our attention earlier today. But our site plan review checklist, the original one that we sent out, indicated that they were in violation of the 20-foot front setback. This is not true. They're not in violation. The setback is greater than 20 feet. And then item 18 on the checklist, it says listed incorrectly. The issue here is not, they meet the setback requirements, but the reason they didn't meet item 18 is because we want to see that information listed in a separate chart off to the side. It should say what the required zoning for that district is, and then the actual setbacks that they're proposing. That should be in a chart off to the side. It's a very minor item to be missing. That's all.
It's listed, but it need to be on a separate chart, you say?
Yeah, there should be a little box off to the side on the site plan indicating what the setback requirements are in the F district and then what their actual setbacks are. But all that information is available on the site plan. It's a very minor issue.
Okay. So it's 19, that's 18 and 19, right?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? Any commissioners have any other questions regarding this item?
This is Commissioner Jewell. If Mr. Johnson can just address the situation of the dumpster. I think it's item number 33. On the first packet we received, it was marked as not there, and then on the second checklist that we got, there was no indication at all.
I thought that question was answered already. I thought that was marked up. Jeff, do you have? I know that question was asked by Creekwood.
Hey, I'm looking at my most recent item 15. No, I'm sorry, it's not 8. Yeah, it's item number 33. Dumpster pad location screening and details. And there's nothing marked at all there. And then on the previous one that was sent to us, it was marked as question mark.
I think Jeff from Creekwood, which is our architect, he's on this call too. I think I remember the question being asked of me, and I'm trying to. Jeff, do you have anything on that?
I'm muted. I'm sorry, I was muted. All we show is an existing dumpster that was shown from the survey. And, in the latest review, there was no comments regarding that, but so that's all we have.
Yeah, there's not a change in the dumpster location or anything.
Okay, so it's the same dumpster location?
Yes, believe so.
Believe so or is so?
Is so.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this again is Commissioner Jewell. I just want to provide 2 compliments. I went through the information. It was very detailed, descriptive, and also well presented, and also was appreciative of the issue of landscaping that was, from my perspective, as a means to enhance the site. So I just wanted to compliment on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission to the applicant? Any other questions from the commission to the applicant? Hearing none. Thank you guys very much. Hearing none. What is the desire of the commission?
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. pending the decision of the commission regarding approval of the site plan, I think the item, and Corey, feel free to jump in on this, the issue of the setback where there was a need for an additional, I'll call it box information, as well as the reference to the dumpster. I don't see a difficulty in approving this with maybe an administrative follow-up.
Absolutely.
That's part of my discussion item.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? What is the desire of the commission?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion. Commissioner
Okay.
Blauer. I move approval of SPR 20936, Goyat's request for a site plan review located at 3842 Gory Ave, parcel number 4109427.023, with administration or admin follow-up on the setback chart on the site plan.
Okay. Do I have a
And-
support for? Yep. Yes.
This is
Jewell?
Commissioner Jewell. Yeah, if Commissioner Blauer is comfortable in adding in confirmation of existing dumpster to that, that would be appropriate to me, and I'm willing to support the motion.
I'm comfortable
And
with
so-
that.
On 33 says dumpster unchanged, same location.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been moved and properly supported by Commissioner Jewell. The approval of SPR 2936, Goyat request for a site plan review at 3842 Gory Ave, with the additions that's cited for the motion, for administrative note on the setbacks and the dumpster. Roll.
Commissioner Ryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell, Commissioner Blauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Jewell,
Yes, with administrative review.
Commissioner Cook Hawkins, Commissioner Sorensen, Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Wesley.
Yes. So it's 5 in the affirmative. Thank you. Site plan has been approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is case review, Island Street vacation. Ms. Wilcott?
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Suzanne. I just wanted to provide an update. The commission approved the vacation of Island Street between North Grand Traverse and Kersley Street at their July meeting. And the resolution was taken to council last night. A public hearing was held at the Flint City Council meeting last night to review this proposed street vacation and approve if desired. And I just wanted to update the commission that Flint City Council did review. A public hearing was held last night. They did review the street vacation and they did approve it. One of the recommendations of the Planning Commission was that there be an easement granted back to the city, that the city retain an easement for this property because of a 60-inch sewer line running down the center of the street. So a subsequent resolution after the public hearing and after the approval of the street vacation was also approved last night to authorize retaining that easement for the city of Flint in order to access the sewer line at any time in perpetuity. So I just wanted to provide an update to the commissioners on the status of that and let you know that that was approved last night by city council.
Okay. Any discussion? Commissioners have any questions concerning that? No? All right. Thank you, Mr. Wolcott.
You're welcome.
Next item is the public hearing. First item on the public hearing is PC 20. I'm trying to think, is this? Okay. Yeah, PC 2381, application for Flint Planning Commission to vacate a public alleyway of 1415 and 1419 North Dort Highway, Flint, Michigan. Parcel number 08239 008 and 4108239009 and 4108239001 and 4108239002. Is the applicant present?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is Robert Rollinger. I'm here on behalf of A&S Properties Associates Flint 2 LLC, who are the owners of the property on both sides of the public alleyway. And we appeared at the September 22nd public meeting for the Planning Commission, at which time the Planning Commission, I believed, moved this to its deliberation, subject to two items being done. One was to have us amend our application to include the public alleyway southerly to its terminus at Missouri Street, and to also provide notification to a Mr. William Kitsonas, Kitsonas, who resides, we believe, at 2614 Swayze, Swayze Street in Flint, Michigan. Mr. Kitsonas is identified as owning several parcels of property south of the property that we own, and notification was provided to him of the intention to extend the vacation of the public alleyway southerly to Missouri. This letter, a copy of which was provided to Mr. Vandercook to provide to each of you, was mailed on October 6th, and we received verification because it was sent priority mail to Mr. Kitsonas that it was received on October the 9th at his address. We have not heard from Mr. Kitsonas about this matter. I advised him in the letter that each of you should have that if he had any further questions about this, he could likewise contact either Miss Kelly Thompson in your legal department or Mr. William Vandercook in your planning and development department.
Okay. Mr. Vandercook, Bill, have you had any correspondence with Mr. Kitsonas? Yeah.
Commissioner Wesley, this is Bill Vandercook. There's been no correspondence, no phone calls, no emails from the individual.
Did our staff send out any notification to Mr. to the owner of that property, Mr. Kitsonas?
We send out public notices to everyone within 300 feet of the property.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Kelly Thompson.
Yes,
I have
I was
had no
getting you.
correspondence with, I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
I've had no correspondence with Mr. Kitsonis either.
Okay. Is there any questions from the commission to the applicant? This is your, go ahead. I heard somebody.
Chairman Wesley, I was just saying, I don't have any questions. I think the questions I had from last time were answered by the information presented.
Okay. Anyone else? Any?
This is Commissioner Jewell, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
The only question I have is part of discussion amongst ourselves, and I guess to Kelly and to staff. Have we fulfilled our due diligence regarding this matter since we're now looking at the entire alleyway and surrounding parcels?
This is Kelly Thompson.
Go, Kelly.
I can confirm that as far as notice goes and due process of the adjoining properties, that we have satisfied those requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. With that, what is the desire of the commission concerning? I got to go back and find it now. I'm moving stuff around on my desk here. PC 20381, the application for Flint Planning Commission to vacate public alleyway of 1415 and 1419. What's those other? Well, I guess we want to include Mr. Cresoni's, the entire alleyway there on this. Do we need to do that? Well, I just say 1415, 1419 North Dort Highway. And those include all those parcel numbers, plus the other, is it any other parcel numbers going down there?
Mr. Chair, again, this is the applicant speaking. Yes, we, at the request of the city engineer and the city fire marshal, the request was extended southerly to Missouri. It was not initiated by the applicant, but it was at the recommendation of your city engineer and your city fire marshal to have it extend to Missouri.
Okay. So any motion should include the southerly direction to Missouri Street for that alleyway. Would that be an appropriate, or would that be right, I guess, in a motion, any motion that is set forth concerning this matter?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'm looking at the updated application to us, and on page 2, it says application has been amended to vacate the entire 15-foot wide alleyway through Missouri Street. So
Okay.
it's my understanding, and staff or Kelly can jump in on this, is that at our last public hearing, based on the input provided by, I think it was the fire marshal and city engineering, to do the entire alleyway, at which point we closed the public hearing of that portion pending additional information. So it's my understanding that we've now got that additional information. And that before us is our decision. And I think that decision then is to either approve or not approve, not the revised amended application, which is for the entire length from Ohio to Missouri, that alleyway.
Right, the entire 15-foot wide alleyway through Missouri Street. Right. What is
I'm
the desire?
looking at go ahead, Mr. Chair.
So what is the desire of the commission at this point?
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
this is Commissioner Jordan. I would move that we recommend to council the approval of the vacation of the alleyway that includes, let's see, I want to get the terminology of it correct here. It includes the entire 15-foot alleyway along the street address of 1415 to 1419 North Dort Highway, including the portion of the alleyway from there towards its terminus at Missouri Street.
Sounds good. Is there support to the motion?
This
Support.
is Commissioner Jewell. I will support that motion.
Yeah, I think I had Ms. Blower before you, Commissioner Jewell.
Oh,
I recognize the
that's
voice.
okay. I will defer to her.
Commissioner Blower support, is that correct?
Commissioner Blower, support.
Thank you. So it's been moved and properly supported that the Flint Planning Commission will recommend to City Council the vacation of the public alleyway from 1415 through 1419 throughout the entire 15-foot alleyway through to Missouri Street. I know I put another 2 and something else in there, but you got the general drift. Roll.
Commissioner Ryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell, Commissioner Blower,
Yes.
Commissioner Jewell,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook Hawkins, Commissioner Sorensen, Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Wesley.
Yes. It's 5 in the affirmative for support to the applicant. This recommendation will be sent forth to City Council for review and public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your cooperation and help. Thank you.
All right. Next item on our agenda is PC, that was on our agenda was PC 20-385-976 Wood Street, LLC requested street vacation. That has been postponed at the request of the applicant. Is that okay? The next item on our agenda is PC 20386 Genesee Health System. Carrie Steele requests a street vacation of 1415 Beach Street between 9th and 10th Street. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Okay, let's discuss your, see which one I got here. Let's discuss, tell us about your vacation request of 236 Genesee Health Systems for vacation between 1415 Beach Street between 9th and 10th Street.
Sure. First, I'd like to start off by introducing myself as well as the project members on this building project. Genesee Health System is looking to build a 60,000 square
Mr.
foot.
Chair, Mr.
Okay.
Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. It
Get
was
in,
a little,
Go ahead.
yeah, it was a little garbled there. And
Oh,
if
I'm
they could
sorry.
introduce,
I'm sorry, let me try. I'm trying to lean down towards my PC right now. Can you hear me better?
yes, and if you could introduce yourself.
Sure, sure. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Carrie Steele. I'm Director of Business Operations at Genesee Health System. I also have on the call Doug Scott from Rowe Engineering, as well as Jeff Mason from Project Manager from Harley Ellis Devereaux, which is our architect. First, I'd like to thank you all for having us present today, and we're very excited to share this information with the commission members. Genesee Health System is looking to build a 60,000 square foot building at the corner of South Saginaw and 9th Street, between 9th and 10th Street, which is currently vacant property as well as Club 69. I'd like to start out by telling you all a little bit about Genesee Health System, about the building and why we need a new building, a little bit about why we chose this site, and then I'm going to pass it along to Jeff and Scott to talk more technical information about the site. Genesee Health System is formerly known as Genesee Community Mental Health, has been in the community since 1967. It is the county-based community mental health provider, as well as the public mental health safety net for Genesee County. We serve infants to older adults with complex mental health issues, as well as individuals with developmental disabilities or intellectual impairments. In fiscal year 19, we served over 8,100 adults, as well as over 5,000 families. One of the reasons we are looking to build a new building is we've had significant growth at Genesee Health System, primarily due to programs to support the water crisis and children and families affected by the water crisis. This building that we're looking to build will house a wide range of children's programs, ranging from intensive clinic evidence-based practice programs, as well will reside in autism clinic, serving children on the autism spectrum disorder. We'll also be including our Neurological Center for Excellence, which is providing neurodevelopmental assessments to children affected by the water crisis. We'll also have our community outreach programs, and we are expanding to include a primary care clinic within the building as well. Again, the reason why we need a new building is currently we're in 3 locations in Flint. And we are currently at our children's programs are in the Mott Children's Building. We occupy the 3rd floor there, as well as the Whaley building on Mackin Street. And we are also located at the Hurley facility at the corner of Robert T. Longway and Dork Highway. We are interested in consolidating these, and we've been working on this project for about 1.5 years now. Some of the goals in mind when we were looking at sites, so about 56% of the children and families that we serve live in the Flint zip code. So our goal was to maintain presence in Flint, as well as we are serving all of Genesee County. So it was important for us to have easy access to a major expressway for those other families living in the county. We also were looking for a site that was symbolic of our mission, which is hope and health in the community. And we feel that this site will allow us to do this. The reason why we're asking specifically for these street vacations, one of the challenges with the children that we serve, many come with physical as well as intellectual disabilities. So wheelchair, as you will see shortly, the site does, Beach Street does go through the site. Also what comes with children that we serve is challenging behavior. So safety is important to us, and crossing the street is not ideal. So those are the reasons why we're here today. At this point in time, I'd like to pass it off to Jeff. If there's no questions specifically about Genesee Health System, I'll pass it off to Jeff to talk about the site and the building itself.
Thank you, Carrie. Again, my name is Jeff Mason, project manager at Harley Ellis Devereaux, and we've been partnered with GHS for the last year and a half or so, working on a variety of different options. And currently, we're in the advanced programming stage, and we're starting to begin the initial design. As Carrie mentioned, the building is approximately 60,000 square feet currently, and it will be a two-story building. It should meet the local code as far as being under 35 feet on that given site. Our goal is to position the building in a strong, visible position in the I-69 corridor, yet also it can act almost as a gateway to and from downtown Flint. Being housed at the corner of Saginaw 9th Street, just south of I-69. It's hopefully it'll become a cornerstone building to future enhancements throughout the neighborhood and to encourage development in the area. We're very proud to say that GHS and their partners have received and are focusing on nearly $12 million of community support for this project. And we look forward to working with the city of Flint on the architectural and site design piece of it. And I think it's about all I have to say, unless there's any specific questions about the site, which is currently ongoing in design.
Okay. From the commissioners, do you have any questions concerning and Mr. Mason's, you're the architect, or the building is going to be, this building will be located on the east side of Beach Street. That's correct?
Correct.
Between 9th and 10th.
Correct. And the parking lot will extend from the building basically west towards the American Red Cross surface parking lot that is currently placed off of Church Street.
So that parking lot will go from west over to, so all those houses on 9th Street, how do they access, well, how do they get out of that area?
There are no houses on 9th Street to my knowledge, Commissioner.
On the west side of 9th Street?
They would have to access off of Saginaw from 10th Street in Wellington.
From 10th Street to Wellington. Actually, 9th Street goes around, goes into a curve as you get over by Red Cross. It's a curve there. It goes around and goes all the way back out to Wellington.
I believe you're talking 10th Street.
Pardon?
I believe you're. This is Doug Scott from Road Professional Services Company.
All right.
Are you talking 10th Street?
On 9th Street, going west, Cross Beach.
Mm-hmm.
That street goes and curves back around, going back south toward Wellington.
9th Street is one way. I believe you're talking 10th Street.
9th Street?
9th Street is the south service drive along immediately a parallel to I-69, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 9th Street goes.
I think you're talking 10th
east.
Street.
Yeah.
10th Street. Yeah, that's 10th Street.
Okay.
Yeah, because 9th Street is right as you cross over 69. That's 9th Street.
Correct.
Right there.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead. So, commissioners, again, the building goes from 9th back toward 10th. Is that how I see that?
The building is between 9th and 10th, immediately adjacent to Saginaw Street.
Right. Where where Club 69 is.
Correct. And
Yeah.
obviously Club 69 will be removed,
Yep. Demolished.
vacated, and then the building essentially will sit on top of that building, all the way to the corner of 9th and Saginaw. And
Okay. And the towing company is on 10th Street, also right across. Will be in front of, well, on the side or in front of you, right?
yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody have any questions of Mr. Mason right now?
Chairman Wesley, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
So one of the questions that I've got is, can you please address what the impact would be on traffic flow?
Doug, you want to go?
Yeah, so with the traffic flow, obviously what we're requesting is that Beach Street between 9th and 10th would be closed. So Beach Street south of 10th Street would be moved, or would be switched to two-way traffic on that. We've met with Mr. Adis, the city engineer, and talked through that with him. And basically that whole section from 10th to 12th would become two-way traffic. The streets are wide enough there for the two-way traffic, and it would just end up being restriped. North of 9th Street up to that is one way now, and it's 4 lanes down to 9th Street, and that would end up going down to 2 lanes. And as I think planning commissioners are aware, MDOT is working right now to put 9th Street on a road diet, which would take that down to 2 lanes one way as well. And so in our discussions with Mr. Adis, what we've been talking about is basically making a portion of Beach Street to the north of 9th Street, making that two-way. It's questionable whether that goes to Court or to what's the other street?
5th Street.
Court or yes. Mm-hmm. So that's what would happen with the traffic on there. Basically, the neighborhood directly south would experience a lot less through traffic, and so it would actually be somewhat easier for them to maneuver through their neighborhood, and they wouldn't have nearly as much traffic in their neighborhood.
Okay. Going south on Beach, when you get to 9th Street, where it's 4 lanes, you got your far left lane, mandatory turn left, and the next lane to that, you can either go straight or turn left. Then the next lane to that, go straight, and then it merges, that 4th lane merges into that lane to the right going through there. So now, at 9th, you would close all of that off. So you could only turn left or go east on 9th Street when you cross the bridge, right?
That's how it would be currently right now. But as I mentioned, we've been in discussions with Mr. Adis about making that section two-way. And so you're correct. Those 2 lanes that you just mentioned would be mandatory left. And then if that becomes two-way, you would be able to turn off 9th Street and go north at that point. So you would regardless if it becomes one way or if it stays one way or 2, we would get that down to 2 lanes.
Okay, now.
So you wouldn't.
I'm confused. You say when you come off of 9th Street, coming off of 9th, well.
Off the expressway.
Going, I can go left on Beach, right?
If that becomes two-way, yes, you would be able to turn to the north or to the left onto Beach Street.
So those individuals that's trying to get out of, no, that's 10th. That's the whole, those folks trying to get out of 10th Street, they have to go all the way back around and come out Saginaw Street then.
That's correct.
Mr. Chairman, I have, I guess, a follow-up question here. I'm trying to
Go ahead.
follow along the verbal presentation as best I can, and I appreciate
That's
those
what I'm trying to
efforts.
do too. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess my question comes down to this. We have some communication from Mr. Adis, who you've indicated that you've met with, and then we also have some communication from the city Department of Traffic Engineering, and they indicate, from what I can, it doesn't appear that there is any written plan on how to handle traffic that's been mutually agreed upon with those departments to indicate that it would be satisfactory. Is that correct?
There's nothing, well, there's nothing written in there. If you read through Mr. Adis's comments on that, he starts out with basically, these are the conditions that would have to be met if items needed before considering Beach Street vacation on that. And so we have met with Mr. Adis twice now. And this actually is a result of our last meeting that we had with he and Ms. Wilcox last week. And basically these were what he stipulated would have to take place in order for Beach Street to be vacated at that point. And so that's what essentially this is what we're describing to you is his first comment was that the neighborhood would have to be notified, and Genesee Health System last week notified basically every property owner south of 10th Street to 12th Street on that. So we went further out than the 300 feet that was required for the by the city on that. We did that just so that people could be notified. And then basically the remaining items that he's talking about there is Beach Street from 10th Street to 12th Street would become two-way, and that's his second point. And then the next one was Beach Street from 9th Street north to 5th Street or to Court Street would need to be converted to two-way traffic. So those are the items that we're talking about actually taking place.
Right. I understand that those appear to be in discussion, and I have right before me the letters that you referenced where Mr. Adis outlines those concerns and kind of what the prerequisites would be or need to be, including that the project is covering various costs and whatnot.
Correct.
I guess, it sounds to me from what I can discern that there have been some conversations talking about, in order for this to happen, from the city engineering standpoint, A, B, C, and D need to be covered. And I hear you saying we've had discussions about A, B, C, and D, but what I don't have in front of me at this stage is any written agreement or jointly agreed upon plan that identifies, yes, A, B, C, and D are being handled in these fashions. I hear more like these things need to happen, but not that they've been settled down and determined at this stage.
The letter from Mr. Adis basically was a result of our meetings, and this is the narrative or the outline for what we are comfortable with moving forward with.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. Follow up after Commissioner Jordan's done.
Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Jewell. I defer.
Yeah, just thank you, gentlemen. This is Commissioner Jewell. To follow up with Commissioner Jordan's commentary, the fire marshal also raised the material I also have in front of me. Fire marshal also raises some issues and concerns, as well as, let me make sure I got this correctly, as well as traffic engineering. In fact, from what I read from traffic engineering, at this particular point, they're not necessarily supportive of approval. Going back to Mr. Adis's concerns, his last statement is the city of Flint utility, water main, sanitary, storm sewers would need to be addressed for the Beach Street and the Simpson Court, the other one, before the street vacation is approved completely. So, and also the information provided by the fire marshal. So I have some concerns not on the intent of the project, not on the intent of the services, which are all well needed, not on the intent of the design and the effort, but on, as Commissioner Jordan was making reference to, the specifics. Additionally, I want to compliment you on reaching out to those in the surrounding area, because we have a copy in our packet, I think, as a flyer that was sent out. Would that be correct?
Yes, it is.
That's what I was referring to, yes. Yep.
Okay, and I'm looking at the front page, and I do have some concerns, because when I read it, and it did talk about proposed street closing, but if you go down into it about, you mentioned Club 69 is going to be demolished, et cetera, but then if you go down, you're stating Beach Street will become a two-way street. Beach Street will also become a two-way street south of 10th. And then you're going, since Beach Street will be closed between 9th and 10th Street, it infers, as well as the road diet, it infers that this is going to be occurring, when in actuality, the information being presented to us as commissioners from the city departments is there's a variety of issues that need to be addressed before it's even, in my view, appropriate of making a decision on vacating.
Yeah. In regards to the utilities on that, we as well have met with Mr. Adis on that and talked through it. The utilities, as far as that run down Beach Street, really only serve those parcels that are in that section there. There's a 4-inch water main that loops back through there, and there's a 8-inch sanitary that serves just those lots. We have, again, we've talked.
Is this Jeff?
This
is this Jeff presenting?
No.
Oh, okay.
Doug Scott from Rowe, sorry.
Okay, gentlemen, I really appreciate your commentary, but let me reread from Mr. Adis. The City of Flint utility, water main, sanitary, and storm sewers will need to be addressed for the Beach Street and Simpson Court before the street vacation is approved completely. So they're saying to me as a commissioner that those items need to be addressed and resolved, at which point they haven't. I'm also going back to the information provided by Rod McGaha. I hope I pronounced that correctly, who's the traffic engineer. And I'm assuming you had a chance to talk with him also.
Yes, and if I can make a statement to that.
And his commentary to you.
Yes, can I make a statement on that as well? Mr. McGaha, his letter that you have there is dated October 12th. I talked with him on the 15th about specifically because Mr. Vandercook had told us that there was some concern. So we immediately took it to contacted him. And essentially what he has told us is that he shares what he told me is the exact same concerns that Mr. Adis has. And if we could satisfy Mr. Adis's concerns, we would satisfy his. So he has not issued anything further.
Let me jump in right.
Rob, hold up. Let him finish the statement, and then you jump in. And
okay.
We're mixing conversations here.
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
Go ahead.
So yeah, I pretty much I was set with that, but my conversation with Mr. McGaha was that if we could satisfy Mr. Adis's concerns, he would be satisfied.
Okay. All right, Rob.
I appreciate all that, okay? And I appreciate you sharing that information with me, but I need you to put yourself in my shoes and my setting. I'm looking at a packet of information. Everything that you just shared with me about follow-up, I have no written information regarding that.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing Commissioner Jordan was saying. We have nothing that says this is what have occurred or this what will occur. To be specific on those plans. You know, we have nothing to say because we cannot, I don't see us approving something on, I guess, speculation, because if something come down, they say, well, how did the planning commission approve this? We had nothing in front of us to work from other than what traffic engineering is saying, and Mr. Ada has said, what was his name?
McCann.
Mark Adis, the city engineer.
Right.
This is Suzanne. May I add something?
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Wesley. I just wanted to add that we were present, both Bill Vandercook and myself were present in the discussion with the Genesee Health System folks and Mark Adis, who did communicate his concerns with the project and were shared with the commissioners. And my question, I think, to you is if there, and the city is in strong support of this project, so I did want to share that. I think it adds a needed element to that Saginaw Street corridor. But I'm wondering if there is a way, because we were part of the conversation, we did hear the concerns expressed, and we do believe that that they can be addressed via, and I appreciate Commissioner Jordan's recommendation, if they can be addressed through some type of memorandum of agreement or understanding that can be executed between the city and this project that address those specific concerns, if that was a way forward towards, because I know there is a timeline associated with this project, and I think it is of value. And I'm just wondering, given that they have agreed to address those concerns as outlined by Mark Adis and Rod Magaha incorporated into Mark Adis's comments, if there was a way, if that was something that could be executed and memorialized between the city and this group, that's a path forward for approving this project. Just a question.
Mr. Chair. Yeah,
Yes.
this is Commissioner Joel again. Suzanne, thank you. However, the other side of it is that I'm going through my material and I don't have any written staff report from either you or Bill regarding confirming that what you just shared with us verbally. And then additionally, if there is to be a memorandum of agreement or intent, I don't see that before us either. And if the city is seeing this from a development point of view as of importance, and as I shared with Genesee Health System, our intent is not negative towards the intent of the project or their need or so forth. It's regarding process, procedure, and covering the logistics and the details. So, Suzanne, I appreciate your adding recommendations and so forth, but I don't see any of that before me.
So I guess that's what I'm asking. You do not have that in front of you because we have not discussed that. In fact, I have not discussed it. We did not discuss it with the team at all. So that is not something, and you know, that would be something that they would have to agree to. But I'm just wondering if there's an opportunity to approve this contingent, like I know you have done in other projects, to approve this contingent upon executing an agreement between Genesee Health System and the city that would have to be obviously signed by the mayor and Genesee Health System, and as a way for this to move forward, and pending potentially administrative review with the chair, which I know has been done before too, if that would be something that would be palatable to the commissioners. But as I said, you do not have this in front of you because I have not discussed it. I just heard Commissioner Jordan's comment, and that is just a way that I'm trying to think of a path forward. So that would be something we would have to prepare and have not yet.
Other comments from Commissioner?
Yes, this is Commissioner Ryan.
Okay.
As a commissioner, I would like to see the fire department and the engineering director to give us a statement that they approve, because as a commissioner, until I see that, I find it real hard to prove something on a contingency that I do not see that the fire department and the traffic and engineering director agree with. That's all I got to say.
Commissioner Blower, you want to jump in here?
I too, echo a few of the comments made. Nothing to do with the project and the meaning and the importance of the project, but I rely on city engineer, the comments from the department heads, and everything before us is in the negative. And so I would need to see that they are pleased with the outcome, a memo of understanding, something to say these conditions have been met before I think we can move forward with a motion.
Okay. Commissioner Jordan?
I would generally concur with that. I know that there are cases, I think, dealing with not street vacations, but with other items where sometimes the applicant and one of their business partners, we want to see their MOA, memorandum of agreement, before we took action and had allowed some administrative approval. I guess I accept the spirit of that suggestion, but I think in this case, because what we're actually talking about is ceding city property and the city being one of the parties to that agreement, and in light of the concerns that were written by the various city departments, that it would be important to see that worked out in writing, to put those concerns to rest. And if that's something that can be worked out swiftly, then maybe there's a way to postpone it and take it up as soon as that has been addressed.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell.
Okay.
I know we're still in the public hearing process for this item, and I know we're in the segment of us as commissioners asking for clarification from the applicant, in that there is still the need for the segment on pros and cons. And then after that segment on pros and cons, we might be able to, in our discussion period, take a look at options for us to pursue this, as we've done with one of the previous vacations, which was Alleyway over on Goyat Highway. But I just didn't want us to get lost into making a decision before we completed the public hearing process.
I understand that, and we were going to get to that part, but I wanted the commissioners, to express their concerns and questions to those applicants before I open it up for public comment. And I think I've gotten all of that to the applicant. Is there any other thing that you want to add here before I open this matter up for public comment? No. Did I get muted all of a sudden?
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay. So Mr. Mason, I believe that's you, right?
Yes.
Anything else you want to say before I open it up for public comment?
I think in the spirit of the city engineer's narrative, we would like to move forward with an agreement based on this narrative. And we're willing to work with the city in order to make things happen. And we appreciate your time and effort in hearing our project. And we will do our darndest to move things forward from this point.
Okay. Yeah, because your city narrative, the narrative, you guys heard it, but we don't have anything before us to say that is what is happening right now.
The narrative. I'm sorry, Commissioner Wesley.
Go ahead.
the narrative that I'm referring to is the city engineer's basically statements of what he needed prior to considering Beach Street and Simpson Street vacation. You know, those are all items that had been discussed previously, and we agreed to. So my understanding is we can take that narrative, move it forward into a memo of understanding or a memo of agreement to expedite things.
Suzanne, did I hear you want to get in on something?
Oh dear. So this is KZ. I was able to get Mark on the line, Mark Adis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he can actually help clear things up more.
Okay, Mark, are you on the line?
Okay,
Okay,
Mark.
Yes.
Would you like to jump
Can you
in
hear me,
here?
or-
Have you been listening to any of this conversation?
No, he hasn't.
I have not.
Oh, sorry.
Would you like to express your concerns concerning the vacation of 1415 Beach Street between 9th and 10th?
Yes. I've requested that they contact everyone in the neighborhood, make sure there was no complaints about that.
Mm-hmm.
They have to, if there's no complaints and you guys move forward, then they have to make Beach from 10th Street to 12th Street two-way, and from 9th Street to 5th Street two-way. That's the only way that we can get that to work. There's utilities out there. They have to come up with a method of relocating them or eliminating the ones we can. There's some that can be eliminated, some that can't. So they have to do some work to get to that point. That's, depend on whether you guys approve it or don't approve it.
Well, we're trying to figure out a path forward, but before we do any of that, I got to open it up for a public hearing. So you can, if you want to listen in on the conversation, I will open this matter up for the public hearing for public comment. I'm sorry, for public comment at this time. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the vacation of PC 386 Genesee Health System request for a street vacation of 1415 Beach Street between 9th and 10th Street? Anyone wishing to speak in favor?
Good evening, Chair Wesley. This is Calfani Stevens, Economic Development Director for the City of Flint. I would definitely like to speak in favor of this project. Not sure if you would like me to speak here or if you would like me to speak at some other point in time, but this is, as Suzanne said, a project that administration is very much in support of. It will do a lot to bring reinvestment, not only to that specific neighborhood, but to extend the feeling of what is the developed downtown. So it will bring a lot of interest and excitement for new development down in this direction. The vacation of the street in that particular area is a safety issue, as was explained, but then turning the rest of the street into a two-way would be an overall boon and benefit to the area. And so those are those are my comments. And any other questions that you have of me, I'm happy to answer as well.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
Good evening, Chairman Wesley. This is Suzanne. I just want to reiterate my previous statements, but I also want to add that you may remember, many of you, the plan for the Choice Neighborhood project. And initially, one of the proposed sites was that Saginaw Street corridor at Saginaw and 9th and 10th, including that Club 69 building. And it was discarded because of the element in that neighborhood. And so we went ahead with a phase 4 project further south along Saginaw Street. And I just want to reiterate that this is something that, and I know you recognize this, I've heard you say this before, but this is something that really benefits that Saginaw Street corridor and really does lend itself to developing along and further south to Clark Commons, phase 4. And then we're continuing to try and do development along that Saginaw Street corridor. So I just really want to express my support for the project. And then the other thing, I think, and I didn't hear this from the presenters, but I know that they have a timeline that they're trying to work within. And so I think it's important to recognize that too. And so if there is a way that this could be approved pending, and I do hear your concerns and I appreciate your concerns, but if there is a way that this could be approved, especially since Margatus is now on the phone, I just wanted to express my support and recognize that that timeline is something that they're trying to operate within, and we are trying to help them with that development along that Saginaw Street corridor. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
I would like to say we have 2 callers ending in 7086 and 6411. Again, to unmute your phone, it'll be *6.
Okay, is the caller there? Is the caller there?
6411. If you could press *6 on your dial pad, or 7086, the phone number ending in 7086. If you could click *6 on your dial. Oh, okay. 7086.
Yes. My name is Dexter Clark. I represent Genesee Health System, and I do see this as being very beneficial as far as the services. I've been in the system as an employee for over 38 years and have seen the growth of our agency, and I do see this project being very beneficial, not only to the community that is being served there and the children, but also to the economy and to that area.
Okay, Mr. Clark, appreciate your comments. Anything else?
No.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in favor?
For 6411, if you could click *6 on your dial pad.
Is the caller there? Is the caller there?
They don't seem to be. Oh, nope, they left.
You scared them off, KZ.
Oh, no.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, this is Jeff Mason on behalf of GHS. Just following up per what, I guess I should ask, may I speak, sir? I'm sorry.
Jeff, I think I'll give you an opportunity to speak after we get through with the public comment, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, my name is Bill Winarski. I'm the chairman of the Greater Flint Mental Health Facilities, Inc. We would actually be the owner of the building that we're building. We are a 501c3 that works specifically for GHS as the owners of most of the properties that community mental health is served with. I've been in this capacity for 17 years and have been in the Flint, almost my working life. I just wanted to Suzanne's point earlier. My role in this project is to bring together the funding elements, and there is a concern. We do have a lot of community support for this project, but there's timing issues relative to being able to deliver this project next spring. And so I would just like to add that if there's anything that we could do to work with the Planning Commission, all of the things that have been mentioned relative to changing the flow on Beach Street and other concerns that the city staff has had, I'm sure that we're willing to not only bring all of those, agree to all of those things, but pay for the cost of all of those things as a project expense. This project is very important to this community. Carrie and I have worked on this for almost 2 years now, and we're very close to bringing it together. There have been a lot of reasons why the being able to work on this street vacation and have it in better shape for you, there's reasons why we weren't able to do that. So admittedly, there are a few things left out there, but I'm sure they're all things that we can work with the city staff on. Between Roe and Harley Ellis Devereaux, we can work these things out, and I'm very willing to commit to them this evening. If the Planning Commission can see their way forward to help us with a tentative approval, we would greatly appreciate that. That's all I have. Thank you very much for allowing me to comment on this.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? KZ, any other callers out there for that?
That is all.
Okay. That portion of the public hearing is now closed. Anyone wishing to oppose PC 20386, Genesee Health Systems, request for a street vacation of 1415 Beach Street between 9th and 10th Street. Anyone wishing to oppose? Anyone wishing to oppose? Casey, is any other person on the line?
There's no one.
Anyone wishing to oppose? Okay. That portion of the public hearing is now closed. I want to go back to Mr. Mason. I believe you had something you wanted to add.
I no longer need to add anything, Commissioner.
Okay.
Mr. Winarski covered the key components that I was going to cover as far as the scheduling component. It is critical that GHS move into a new facility in early 2022. So.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. The public hearing is now closed. The discussion, commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I have a question, and I guess it would be in some ways to the applicant. So one of the things I heard Mr. Wisniewski, I'm sorry, or I'm not sure if I got your name correctly. Please forgive me if I've not gotten that correct. But you mentioned in your public comment that that the applicant was willing to pay the cost of any changes requested by the city. And I had some follow-up questions relative to that, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
So the first is in saying that the applicant is willing to cover those costs. Does that include the costs of all factors that have been identified the city is needing attention, which would include everything related to traffic flow changes, the fire hydrant relocation, identified by the fire department, as well as the cost of relocating any utilities. And any other costs that were listed by the city engineer or fire department.
Which one of the?
Bill.
Go ahead, Mr. Mason. Are you going to address that?
Yes. Go ahead, Bill.
Oh, I was muted. I was muted by the host. But yes, more specifically, the traffic changes on 12th Street, restriping and changing the signals, and utility relocations. Of course, there would be some cut and cap, and there would be some perhaps restructuring, and we would consider that to be a project cost paid for by the project.
And you're authorized in your role in order to make those commitments on behalf of the applicant?
Yes, I am. I'm the chairman of the Greater Flint Mental Health Facilities, Inc. And as such, we will be the ultimate owner of the building and lease that building to GHS.
Well, I understand and I appreciate that you said that. I just want to be clear because the applicant is Genesee Health System with Carrie Steele listed as the applicant on our materials. So I just wanted to verify that.
I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to make this meeting this evening.
Mm-hmm.
And so Carrie's filling in for me. Carrie and I are partners in developing this project. Carrie represents Genesee Health System, who will lease the building and hopefully treat children there for the next 40 or 50 years. So we're partners in this project.
Yeah, well, and if I can, I have the utmost respect for the work the Genesee Health System does. My own dad retired for more than 30 years working at child and adolescent services there, so I'm very, very familiar with the role that you play in the community. Speaking for myself, I have still some reservation about not having anything in writing that says what you just said.
I think we. Oh, excuse me. I was going to say I think we can get that to you as quickly as we can. It's been a little bit of a struggle because of land acquisition and those type of things. We haven't had the time that we would have liked to be before you today, but I'm sure we can correct that and get things to you in writing in very short order.
Well, and that's sort of actually kind of my dilemma, because on the one hand, I don't want to put you in the position of having to slap together an email that you haven't had the opportunity to craft or vet or get whatever sign-offs you need that would commit you in writing to what you've stated verbally here tonight. So I don't want to put any pressure on you to do something in that quick turnaround. For my own stuff, I would feel more secure in the direction that you're asking us to go if we had something in writing, even if it's an email to staff that confirms what you've stated verbally tonight.
If I can jump in here, if the commission would feel more at ease and with the applicant, could we possibly, because with this Zoom meeting stuff, I could try to get the commissioners to agree to some special meeting. I can call a special meeting in order to review something in writing. And if the applicant have any idea when they could craft something, an agreement, a memorandum of agreement, to get it back to the planning staff, and we have a special meeting, because I think I only need 24 hours in order to do that, but I'm not going to put you on that type of a timeline. If the commissioners, feel more comfortable with that, I can do that.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell.
Yeah.
Since we're in discussion, I am still concerned about having things in writing. I'm also appreciative of Suzanne's commentary regarding I'm going to use the term loosely, memorandum of understanding and tasks, expectations, follow-throughs, etc. And I would be receptive to, just as we've done with other public hearings where we've postponed final decisions based on additional information, that if Suzanne and related city staff and the applicants want to sit down and work out a memorandum of understanding with the issues and concerns that we've raised, and having you as chair as a part of that process, I am receptive to that kind of orientation. So I just put that out there as part of our discussion.
Okay.
And again, as I think all of us as commissioners have shared, we're all supportive of the intent of the project. We're all supportive of the services that are needed and so forth. Our main intent is to make sure that the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, and all the related logistical issues are being addressed. So at no point, no one can say, why wasn't this item addressed, and so forth.
Thank you, Commissioner Jewell. Commissioner Blauer, you want to chime in on this?
Yeah, I think for me, the most important is to have it in writing that there were those conversations held, and these are the results of the conversations. It's not just, one or two little things to work out. I see kind of a big picture thing that needs to kind of go step by step, get that in writing, and whether it's, a special meeting or an admin review, I'm comfortable either way. I just think that it needs to be in writing.
Okay. Commissioner Ryan.
I'm comfortable with that, long as in writing, because as a commissioner, that's what I need to see to know, exactly as everyone else said, that we did everything as what the commission's supposed to do.
Okay. To the applicant, do you have any type of timeline to craft an agreement, a memorandum of agreement between Suzanne, that maybe you can work with the applicants? And because I have no problem in setting up a special meeting to get this moving forward.
Mr. Chairman, I think our first step would be to have a sit down with those responsible department heads and have that conversation and hammer out per se the bullet points. Then take that set of bullet points and move that forward into, as you mentioned, a memorandum of agreement or memorandum of understanding. I can see that happening within the in getting that document back to you, sir. If we can meet on a rate as soon as possible, early next week.
Okay, when you say early next week, would that be like next Tuesday, which is election day? all of those who have not gone to the polls early. But I'm working the polls on that day, so I'm not. I don't know if I can do that on Tuesday of next week.
Mr. Chairman, my goal would be to have that completed and to staff on Monday.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. I think we need to also, from Suzanne, who would be effectively being the contact person for the city staff and working with the other city departments as well as working with the applicant. I think instead of looking at next Tuesday, if we wanted to look at next Wednesday or Thursday, I think the direction we're moving forward to is sort of a postponement until that special meeting, that memorandum of understanding with the issues that we've talked about being addressed and then forwarded to us. and then meeting to review that. So again, I think we may, Mr. Chair, you might want to get some kind of additional input from Suzanne on that.
I don't know. Suzanne might be agreement to anything early.
I do support that. I will say that we will make ourselves available to work with the applicant as well as the other city departments, as well as our legal team. Memorandums of understanding, obviously, go through our law department. So that is something that we will have to work with our legal team as well as administration to make sure that that is acceptable to the city and represents all of the city's interests. But we definitely support this project, and we will work in whatever fashion the Planning Commission desires to make it happen.
To the commissioners, looking at your schedule for next week, you know, Tuesday's going to be awful. That's bad. I can't do that. I've already committed to Inez to do some things for me, and that might go until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So I'm not sure about that. But any other day of next week, I'm available, like Wednesday or Thursday. I don't want to tap anyone's weekend day of Friday. What day can work for the commissioners? Could you just give me some type of idea?
This is Commissioner Jewell. Wednesday or Thursday is fine for me.
Okay.
I'm available either of those days as well.
Wednesday or Thursday, fine for me.
And
Commissioner
same.
Ryan.
Okay, yeah, everybody sort of got me at once. I heard Wednesday or Thursday. So are we looking at Thursday? How's Thursday next week? How is that? Or did I hear Wednesday with Elizabeth? I wasn't sure what I heard.
I think everybody said Wednesday and Thursday would be fine with them.
Oh, y'all gonna leave that up to me to make the date, huh?
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. I will recommend that we go for Thursday. And the reason for that is knowing and having past experience and having to work with logistics and details, it's only appropriate for us to provide appropriate time for both city staff and for the applicant staff for their flexibility to address stuff, as well as to get information to us.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Kelly Thompson.
Yeah, Kelly. I was going to get you, Kelly.
I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun again.
I was going to get you, but go ahead, Kelly.
And through you, Mr. Chair, to Bill, do we have Historic District Commission on Thursday evening next week? Our HTC meetings are usually the first Thursday of each month, so I just want to verify if we have one or not. We may not have applications.
Yeah, this is Bill Vandercook. November 5th, there is a meeting, Thursday, November 5th.
Look at my calendar. What is that? That would be November. That is November 5th.
It's November 5th.
So look like maybe we have to do Wednesday. To Mr. Mason and Mr. How is Wednesday of next week? Well, as a discussion, as a date that I can call for a special meeting.
That's a good target right now, sir. Let's go for that.
Okay, Wednesday. Okay. The chair will, well, let's do for, is it be 5:30 regular meeting time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, is that okay for, Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. Is that okay for Casey?
Who, Casey? You know, she could work wonders. Casey, what do you think about next Wednesday?
True.
Oh, wow. You guys have high expectations.
Come on, Casey. You can work it, Casey. I know you can.
Yeah. We can definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell again. it may be appropriate, because on our agenda, we still have PC 2387.
I was going to get there. I was going to take
Okay.
that in line, Rob, but I'm gonna clear this one and then go,
Okay.
because I think all of that will work together, but I need to call that one after I take care of this one. So we won't
Okay, sounds good. That my concern was making sure we're on the same page with both of them.
Okay. All right, now the chair will entertain a motion to deal with PC 20386, Genesee Health Systems, for the vacation on 1415 between 9th and 10th Street.
Mr. Chair, or I'll defer to Commissioner Jordan. Commissioner Jordan, did you want to make the motion for postponement, or?
You can go ahead, that's fine.
Okay. This is Commissioner Jewell. I make a motion for postponement of the present public hearing of PC 20-386, Genesee Health System request of street vacation of 1415 Beach Street between 9th and 10th Street, to special meeting for Wednesday, 11/4 at 5:30, to continue discussion, review, proposed. Is it appropriate for us to use the word memorandum of understanding?
Memorandum of agreement or understanding, I guess. I think they both carry about the same weight.
Okay, Kelly, I'm going to defer to you. Which would be the appropriate?
This is Kelly Thompson. I'm not sure if we even need to specify that a memorandum of understanding or agreement is going to be considered. I think it's sufficient to say that it's to continue the review of this application.
Okay, review application with requested information.
Correct.
As discussed.
Okay. There's support to that motion?
Support, Commissioner Ryan.
My question, that would be under public hearing. We don't need it, the agenda item. It would be just under continued discussion under the public hearing. It won't have a public, that'd be the only thing on our agenda. For us, that'd be a special meeting, right?
Mr. Chair, my understanding in holding a special meeting would still need to do roll call.
Right.
We still need to do public forum.
Right.
But the only item on the agenda is what we place on agenda, which would be this particular continuation.
Right. Okay. I heard a support from Mr. Ryan. Okay. Any further discussion on that? Bill, roll.
Commissioner Ryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell, Commissioner Blower,
Yes.
Commissioner Jewell,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook Hawkins, Commissioner Sorensen, Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Wesley.
Yes. So PC 20386 is postponed for a special meeting on Wednesday, November the 4th at 5:30. Next item is PC 2387, Genesee Health Systems, requests for a street vacation at 1410 Simpson Court between 9th and 10th. What's the desire of the commission on this one? With comments from Mr. Mason and or Carrie Steele.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. It appears we may have similar questions and concerns, and if appropriate, I would like to make a motion to postpone P7 20-387 Genesee Health System request of street vacation of 1410 Simpson Court between 9th and 10th Street to the special meeting established on Wednesday, 11/4, with the understanding that this particular one, we would not be completing the public hearing, would be conducting it in whole.
Okay. Is there support to that motion?
Support.
It's moved and properly supported. In the discussion phase, for Mr. Mason or representatives from Genesee Health Systems, would that be agreeable with you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Could we have, if there's no further discussion, Mr. Vandercook, would you have a role on the proposed postponement of PC 20387, Genesee Health Systems request for a street vacation? And this will be for the public hearing. The Genesee Health Street vacation of 1410 Simpson Court between 9th and 10th Street vacation.
Mr. Chair, just something went through my mind, and I think I'm going to need either Bill or Kelly's input on this. The postponement of PC 20-386 to the special meeting, that public hearing was already opened and we postponed it. However, PC 20-387, we haven't opened, but we're moving it to next week. Is that appropriate regarding any additional notifications we have to do?
This is Commissioner Jordan. So that's a good point. Maybe Ms. Thompson can weigh in on that. Maybe we need to hold off on this motion in order to conduct the public hearing, since there was notice given for this.
Yeah.
So that so we can collect any public testimony.
That and to preserve for the special meeting.
All right. I would
Mr. Chair, this is
for the motion.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, this is Kelly Thompson.
Yeah.
I agree with Commissioner Jordan. In case that anyone has appeared to speak in favor or in opposition to that particular item, then that should be called, and then a motion to postpone would be appropriate after that.
I think you're correct, and Commissioner Jewell, are you willing to draw your motion?
Yes, this is Commissioner Jewell. I will withdraw my motion regarding postponing PC 20-387 as noted from our discussion.
Okay, and I've heard Commissioner Jordan withdraw her support of that motion. That is correct, Commissioner Jordan?
Correct.
Okay, so we're at this point, we'll call PC 20387 Genesee Health Systems request for a street vacation of 1410 Simpson Court between 9th and 10th Street to the applicant. Is there any other comments that you want to make concerning your request other than those that you made on 20-386?
No additional comments at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. That portion is closed. We're going to open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the public?
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell.
Yes.
Just for the sake of process, I think it'd be appropriate that at least I will say that at this particular time as a commissioner, I don't have any additional comments.
Okay.
Because we usually have the applicant.
Okay, I'll go through the whole process, Commissioner Jewell, just to get the commissioner's response. Questions or additional comments from the commissioners on PC 2387. I need each one of the commissioners, if they have other comments, to express them at this time. If not, please express that you have no desire for any additional comments at this time.
This is Commissioner
Ryan. I have no other comments at this time.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan.
Commissioner Jewell, no other time.
Commissioner Jewell, was that you saying you had no additional comments at this time?
That is correct.
Okay. Commissioner Blower?
Commissioner Blower, I have no additional comments at this time.
Commissioner Jordan?
Ditto.
I think that was a ditto. And as chairman, I have no additional comments at this time. I open it up for public comments. Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak in favor of PC 20387, Genesee Health System requests street vacation of 1410 Simpson Court between 9th and 10th Street? To those people who commented on PC 20386, if you have any additional comments or you would add something differently for 2387, you can speak at this time. If not, your comments will be held, added. Any additional comments? If you have any additional comments, you have an opportunity to speak at this time. Anyone other that haven't spoken concerning PC 386 and would like to speak on PC 20387 in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor, please do so at this time. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, please do so at this time. KZ, is anyone out there on?
I don't think so.
KZ, do we have anyone?
No.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor?
Just for clarity, Chairman, anyone who spoke in favor before does not need to speak in favor again, correct?
That's correct. Okay. That portion of the public hearing is now closed. Anyone wishing to oppose PC 20387, Genesee Health Systems, request for a street vacation of 1410 Simpson Court between 9th and 10th Street. Anyone wishing to oppose? Anyone wishing to oppose? Casey, is there anyone on the line concerning that? No?
No one.
No one on the line? KZ, any callers?
No.
Okay. That portion of the public hearing is now closed. What is the desire of the commission?
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell. Based on our previous discussion regarding PC 20-386 and related information. I'd like to make a motion that we postpone the completion of this public hearing to the special meeting Wednesday, July the 4th. My apologies. Wednesday to November the 4th at 5:30 to continue discussion and review proposed applicants' requested information as discussed.
Okay. Their support.
Support.
Commissioner
Ryan.
Commissioner Ryan moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll for postponement to our special meeting on November the 4th, 2020 at 5:30.
Commissioner Ryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell, Commissioner Lauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Jewell,
Yes, for postponement.
Commissioner Cook Hawkins, Commissioner Sorensen, Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Wesley.
Yes, for postponement. Okay, next item on our agenda is reports. Attorney Kelly Thompson, status of permanent marijuana ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is Kelly Thompson. The emergency ordinance was extended for a 6th time at the council meeting last night. And we have arrangements to move the proposed permanent ordinance forward. I have spoken to a couple of council members who have expressed their desire to consider that within the next month or so. So hopefully it will be the 6th and final extension. And I wanted to inform the commission that the 5th extension of the emergency ordinance that expired on Thursday of last week, or I'm sorry, yeah, Thursday of last week. We were on the call for the council meeting on Wednesday, and by the time they got to that agenda item, there weren't enough council members on the call to vote on it. So that's why it was postponed until Monday. So there was a 3 business day lapse in the emergency ordinance. So I can take any questions from the commissioners about that. But it's back in place now. So there have been no applications renewed or licenses renewed or applications submitted during the time that it was lapsed. But so we are looking forward to having the council consider the proposed permanent ordinance and get that adopted before a 7th extension is needed.
Do you have a date for when the council is going to take this up again?
We do not. That's a great question, and I think that I'll have to discuss that with our chief legal officer and council staff to determine when exactly it can be put on the agenda and addressed. They're not holding committee meetings right now, and it's been read once, so it doesn't have to go to committees, but that does, I think, tighten their agendas for their regular meetings. So hopefully sometime in the next month that'll be on their agenda.
Any comments or questions to Ms. Thompson from the commissioners? Okay, Kelly, I just have something that's totally unrelated to our marijuana ordinance. Detroit, I just understand they just took up a marijuana ordinance for the city of Detroit. Did you know about that at all?
I do not.
And my thing was, they had something that was really sort of unique in their ordinance. They said for people requesting the provisional growing or recreational marijuana within the city limits of Detroit, a certain portion of those requests, people requesting that, have to be of a minority. And I was just wondering if you heard anything about that, and how did they craft that that request for having those type of facilities in Detroit?
I'm not familiar with that at all, Mr. Chair, but I'd be glad to look into that and report back to the commission at our next meeting.
Yeah, if you could just have a phone call to who the guy that left here and went down there?
Kevin Schrontz.
If you know Kevin,
okay.
Yeah, give Kevin a call and say, Kevin, you know anything about this?
And that was a City of Detroit ordinance, you said?
Yeah, I
We
think
had
that's Detroit.
one of our former City of Flint assistant city attorneys. She is now corporation counsel for the City of Detroit, so I could reach out to her as well.
Yeah, give her a call and see how that's crafted there.
Absolutely, I'd be glad to do that.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Suzanne on the draft zoning ordinance and capital improvement.
The draft zoning ordinance has still not been brought to council. There is quite a bit of discussion at council, though, about bringing that forward. So we've had some internal conversations, the law department and planning staff, about the ability to move that forward, even simultaneously, rather than waiting for the permanent recreational ordinance to be adopted. So that is something that we are in discussion about right now. As you know, we've done significant outreach on the draft zoning code, and there's a lot of conversation about it. So it seems that council, at least some members of the council, are interested in bringing that forward. So we do have, we are having some more discussion about maybe not waiting until the permanent ordinance is in place. And I know one of my other items that's on the agenda related to staffing is on too, but they're connected in that, you know, you've seen Corey Christensen on the call. You know that he is our zoning consultant who is on staff to the city. So that gives us a little bit more capacity. As you know, I was concerned about the heavy lift in bringing the zoning code to council without that zoning coordinator position and that guidance from an expert in zoning. So having Corey, I think, here helps provide a little bit more confidence to me that we could maybe present this understanding that it is quite a bit of work. So I think we've moved forward a little bit on having conversations. There are still some things that need to take place, and we certainly have to have discussions with law, but I've talked to Kelly about it, and she is in support either way, whether we wait until, and Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my recollection of our conversation, whether we wait until the permanent ordinance is in place or we move forward at the same time. So I think we are considering doing that more quickly rather than waiting for that permanent ordinance. So you may see some movement on that sooner than we thought. And then the capital improvements plan, the city is starting the budget process right now. I just reached out to Eric Scorsoni and Amanda and asked them to give me the capital improvements plan that they have in place right now, so that we could do a much better job this year of preparing a capital improvements plan, presenting it to Planning Commission for review, approval, and adoption. And that discussion has started, and I will continue following up and keeping you updated on that. But our goal is to be compliant with the requirements of the master plan, so that you do have a capital improvements plan this year that you can react to. So that is happening too. And I think the last thing I just addressed related to staffing as well.
Yeah, I had a comment from the mayor because I mentioned it to him concerning the zoning and get that moving forward. And everybody seems to in agreement. And I talked to Council President Galloway in trying to get this item on their agenda too. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yep, there definitely is support from the council to bring this forward now, different than has been communicated in the past, waiting until the marijuana ordinance was adopted. So that is something that we are looking forward to do. There is some formatting, which I think I shared with you before, but we do have some assistance offered by Kalfani Stevens to actually put that in the proper ordinance format. However, that should not prevent us bringing that forward to council. So we're hoping to do that sooner rather than later.
Okay. Comments from commissioners?
This is Commissioner Jewell, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to swing back around on the staffing. If Suzanne could address, because I know, and welcome back aboard, Corey. Welcome back to the adventures.
I've missed all of you.
But I did want to address because if you could update us on the other staffing dynamics in the planning office.
Sure, and I should have also said, while Corey is here and has the support and backup of Row Professional Services, and we're happy to have them under contract, we are still seeking a zoning coordinator. So there are some new HR staff as well, and I've been working with them to try and reach out and identify some qualified zoning experts to come into the city, similar to, the Corey obviously was one in the past, but we've had some, I think, really competent zoning professionals, and I think we need to continue with that standard. So they're helping me work through that. So that position is still open. It is unfortunately still vacant, but I have been recently I've received many applications, not necessarily for that, but for positions. So they're actively recruiting positions, and we've had conversations and have a meeting scheduled to talk about additional recruitment efforts that we can take and who else we can reach out to. In addition to some of our previous outreach, we've reached out to the Michigan Association of Planning, the American Planning Association, the Society of African American Planners. We're going to continue that outreach and also make sure that we're reaching out to Michigan Municipal League and Michigan Community Development Association and other industry organizations so that we can get that position filled. So that position is still vacant. Also, the lead planner is vacant. However, there have been a few applicants for that position, so I had not received any candidates in quite a while. And then recently, our HR staff, I don't know if if there's more applications coming in, but I have received some forwarded to me, and we are looking to schedule at least one interview. We have one interview scheduled very, very shortly, and we are continuing to move on that. So I do see some movement. I'm optimistic about that, and so we are continuing. I think I'm seeing some progress on that, I should say. And then we did have, in terms of planning, we did have a transition. One of our community, planning and development is comprised of several divisions. One of our community development grant coordinators moved from the CED division to the planning division, and he is taking over the parks planner role, which you may or may not know, but it's a key component of our planning efforts as well. We have a draft master plan that we're getting ready to take to city council, which will make some opportunities available for accessing funding from the DNR, which we are currently unable to do because we do not have a parks master plan adopted. So I'm excited about that transition, and we're working to fill that CD position, the CD grant coordinator position right now. And I just received several applications today actually for that position. So HR, I think, is working really hard, and we're working really hard, and I'm optimistic that we're going to see some movement in getting these positions filled hopefully soon. So I feel good. I'm really glad to have Corey back. He provides a lot of support to Bill. Bill is continuing to do a great job in filling that zoning coordinator role, and having Corey there to really kind of provide that expertise and specifically that work knowledge, I think is great for Bill and for the department. So it's a good thing. We're happy to have Corey back. He's on day 3 right now.
Very well. Very well. Any other questions directed for Suzanne Wilcott? No? Resolution, bylaws. Kelly, Ms. Thompson, Attorney Thompson, you want to go discussion for our bylaws?
Sure. And Mr. Chair, this is Kelly Thompson. I believe the draft bylaws were provided to the commissioners in their packets. And so I think it's kind of self-explanatory. I'm happy to answer any questions the commission may have on a specific provision. I did make some changes based on recommendations from the chair and the vice chair. And I think I don't have much of a presentation. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And hopefully you've had an opportunity to review these.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. To the commissioners, comments, concerns? I will open it up to you at this time. I've read through them a couple of times, and I'm satisfied with our bylaws. Ms. Blauer and Commissioner Jordan and Kelly, I think, did a fantastic job in pulling these together. So, to the commissioners, for those who have an opportunity to review.
This is Commissioner Jewell. Thank you. Job well done. First, Kelly, thank you ever so much for pulling in bylaws from other scenarios for us to take a look at. Again, special thanks to each of the commissioners in helping to pull this together, as well as catching the small items in it, which means we actually read this stuff. The other thing that I found really interesting, as a side note, if you go to page 5, where it talks about our regular commission meetings, I don't know if anybody noticed this, but I liked the reset of the agenda format. I think it flows a lot better. If you take a look at it, it's our standard roll call, changes in the agenda, adoption, minutes, public forum, and then we start off right after the public forum with public hearing rather than site plan or case review. And then it got after the public hearing, site plan, case reviews, and then so on. I think those items flow really well, especially in light of manners in which we've had to change the format at each individual meeting and so forth. But again, job well done.
Okay. Commissioner Jordan?
I would just echo the thanks for Kelly and your assistance with that. You helped us walk through a lot of different ideas, and I feel good about the place it ended up.
Commissioner Blauer?
I too thank Kelly for putting in the last leg of the work. I think all of the changes we made were thoughtful, and we kind of hashed them out amongst ourselves over and over again, and kind of caught ourselves on a couple of times saying, especially with those agenda items, I remember the conversation and saying, no, this works better, and kind of using our knowledge to hash through some stuff. I think we're being more proactive. You don't usually use the bylaws unless there's an issue. and hopefully we've worked through some things that were proactively would be in our way in our future.
Commissioner Ryan.
I was well pleased with the bylaws. I think that it was a very good job, and it helped me.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Kelly Thompson, if
yeah.
I may.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Just in response to the remarks by Commissioner Blauer, I think that this is a very thorough overhaul of the previous bylaws. So if the commissioners haven't read it front to back yet, and even in the future, I think that there are a lot of questions that come up during meetings that, how something should be done or when it's appropriate to address a specific thing. So I would just welcome and invite the commissioners to review these, because I think some of those questions that come up routinely are now embedded in our bylaws. So the commissioners may find that helpful should questions arise during future meetings about the proper procedure. I think that our bylaws would now answer those questions for the commissioners.
Okay.
Commissioner, this is Commissioner Jewell, Mr. Chair. I'll hold my question if you were going to make a comment.
Well, I was going to say, if you put this in the context of a race, we handed things off to Kelly and she just absolutely ran with it and did a fantastic job in doing so. I think all those working on that committee did a great job. Elizabeth came up with her agenda stuff that gave us a working platform.
That was very helpful. It was a blueprint.
A working platform there. And Commissioner Blauer, we had lengthy discussions and great discussions. We sit there for 2 and 3 hours and it went by so fast, and we were just going at it. And I just really appreciate everyone taking the time and support and the effort that was put into this. And that's basically what I have to say about that. I thank each and every one of you guys for doing that. Commissioner Jewell, I think you had a comment.
Yeah, I was going to raise a logistical question. If we go to page 8, and part of our task for this evening on our agenda was review and adoption, and our new proposed bylaws under Article 9 for amendment to the bylaws, and Kelly, I'll defer to you. I don't have my old bylaws, but it says Section 2, an affirmative vote of at least 2/3 of the commissioners shall be required for adoption of amended bylaws. So our intent is to amend our bylaws, and since there's 8 of us presently as commissioners, and there's only 5 of us present, that doesn't quite make the 2/3, if my math is correct.
This is Kelly Thompson. I would rely on your math. So this section of the bylaws is not part of our current bylaws. So if we want to follow this 2/3, then the commission is certainly welcome to do that. And perhaps we could add this to the special meeting or the next meeting if necessary. But again, that section of the bylaws is not part of our current bylaws yet. So if that answers your question, then that's my answer.
But it just to throw in, it says was about 2/3 of the members present. If we have a quorum, then we could.
Do we have our present bylaws? I'm trying to find mine.
Affirmative vote of at least 2/3 of the commission members shall be required to adopt an amended bylaws. So that's not the ones that's commission present. Okay.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. It leaves out members present for a reain.
Right.
And I believe I pulled this from another sample that we were looking at from a different municipality. This is all up for discussion and debate right now. If we want to abide by that for amendment of this proposal, that section can be entirely removed. So it's
Well,
all
no,
up for discussion. It's all fair game.
No, I'm not recommending removing it.
Right.
What I'm addressing is originally we didn't have it. We at our September 22nd meeting, we discussed putting it under resolutions to review and adopt. All right. However, when the minutes went, and they're in the minutes, but when the agenda went out, staff did not put it under resolutions, okay, for review of revised bylaws and adoption, all right? So if we're gonna, my thought is, okay, we're reviewing them this evening, but it might be more appropriate, and I'm directing this to staff again, that we hold on making any decision on adopting these new bylaws until our next regularly scheduled meeting, and put that in on the resolutions for the next agenda where it says adoption of revised planning commission, city of, what's the official thing? City of, it would be adoption of, of City of Flint Planning Commission revised bylaws. So then that way we're fulfilling notification of that, and that at the same time hopefully we have more than 5 of us.
Right.
And Chairman Wesley, this is Commissioner Jordan, and I actually have before me my handy dandy City of Flint Planning Commission handbook.
That's it. You found it.
Right
I have
here.
one of those. Great, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I've
Mine
got
is
one. It's a
downstairs
dinosaur.
in place.
But tab 4 has a copy of our bylaws, and it was amended on December 12th, 2006. And it does specify that amendment of these bylaws may be made at the Planning Commission at any meeting, provided that notice of said proposed amendment is given all commissioners in writing at least 5 days prior to such meeting, and shall be adopted by an affirmative vote of 2/3 of the members. So based on that, it would seem that we don't have enough people here tonight to make this change.
Right.
And that was in our original bylaws. That's okay.
Yep.
Right.
Thank you. I'm glad you found that. Thank you.
Yeah, and that was what I was making reference to, and so forth. So as part of our discussion, we need to be aware of the fact that that a separate notification needs to go out to the members of the Planning Commission, because if you Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday is not 5 days before, it's 4 days before.
What you talking about, the special meeting?
No. My understanding of special meetings is to only deal those 2 items that, the 2 items we moved to the special meeting are within the same, what's the word I'm looking for? The same category. They're regarding a vacation, but it's by the same applicant. Where I think this needs to be, the adoption of our bylaws needs to be placed on our next regularly scheduled agenda meeting under resolutions noted as such. And then a separate notification needs to go out to all of the members 5 days prior.
Well, when they get the agenda, it'll be on the agenda. So
no, because
I understand what you're saying. Because if we get our packet, excuse me, on Friday till Tuesday's 4 days, right?
Right. That's correct.
Yeah. Notification could be by phone call.
No, it says it in writing.
I know it says in writing. If staff want to send out a a memorandum to each mail out something that said we will, at our next regularly scheduled meeting, we will be looking at adopting our new revised bylaws for the planning commission.
Mr. Chair,
Email. Is email in writing?
Mr. Chair, this is Kelly Thompson.
Yeah, Kelly.
Email can be considered in writing, and
Yeah.
I would be happy to send out that email.
That's what I thought. Brainy idea. Let's
Okay.
send out an email to the commissioners.
So if appropriate, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to put on our agenda for our next regularly scheduled meeting, which would be November 10th.
Got my calendar. Correct.
For November the 10th, under resolutions, adoption of, Kelly, would it be amended bylaws or revised?
For the revised bylaws.
Okay, adoption of revised City of Flint Planning Commission bylaws.
And it's to consider the adoption of the revised bylaws.
Right, consider. And that staff will notify Planning Commission members 5 days prior.
At least 5 days prior.
Yeah.
Because if she could shoot out a memorandum anytime, it'd be great. Okay.
My intention is to do it this evening or tomorrow, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. See, took care of that. So that's a motion.
Yeah, that's my motion.
Do we have a second to that motion?
Second to the motion, Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. So moved and properly seconded that an email will be sent out to the commissioners prior to our next regularly scheduled, at least 5 days prior to our next regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting, which is November the 10th, that we will be reviewing and adopting the revised bylaws for the Planning Commission for the City of Flint. Any other discussion? Roll.
Commissioner Ryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell, Commissioner Blower,
Yes.
Commissioner Jewell,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook Hawkins, Commissioner Sorensen, Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Wesley.
Yes. Okay. Status of the Planning Commission membership roster. Bill, Suzanne?
Hello again. So I did reach out again. I looked back through my emails to see when the last email that I had received from the council office was, and I reached out to them again, and we do have a meeting scheduled. I reiterated the importance of us having, expiration dates updated, and we have a meeting scheduled for Friday to discuss it. And so I am hopeful that we should be able to resolve it, understanding that a couple of commissioners, I understand that if I'm speaking incorrectly, please let me know, but a couple of commissioners have been reappointed. I think I was informed today that Commissioner Jewell and Commissioner Wesley have been reappointed. Is that correct?
That's correct. That was back in February.
Oh.
Okay. So I did not know that. So, and I think I have heard you say that before, Rob, but I think I had forgotten that. I was reminded today. So we need to make sure, obviously, that the roster is updated to include the proper expiration dates for those, as well as the missing expiration dates for one of the appointees and then to get back on their radar, understanding that the clerk's office is extremely busy right now with elections, but to get back on their radar that we need to have these expired appointments renewed, reappointed. So that's part of our meeting conversation scheduled for Friday with the clerk's office. So I hope to have news for you and at least the missing information, and then hopefully progress on new appointments by the next planning commission meeting.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Jewell.
Yes.
Suzanne, thank you. I do need to express to the group as a whole, as I've talked before in the past, our original request was back in June, July, August, September, October. It's been over 4 months. And I did have this particular discussion with our chair. If I made a FOIA request, Kelly, if I make a FOIA request, how quick does the public municipal body have to respond?
This is Kelly Thompson, as the staff attorney for the Planning Commission and also the current City of Flint FOIA coordinator. I can advise you that it's a 5 business day initial deadline with a possible 10-day extension, and that the extension comes in writing to the requester.
Okay. So everybody's heard that, all right? The City of Flint Planning Commission is a public body. The information regarding who we are, what our terms are, our expirations, and so forth are all public information. And if I understand correctly, and Kelly, you can correct me, they fall under the auspices of the FOIA, Freedom of Information criteria. Is that correct?
To clarify, you're mostly correct, Commissioner Jewell. However, FOIA request is for records in the city's possession. So in this case, if we don't have the most recent roster on an existing document, then the FOIA request at this point would be denied because it doesn't exist. We would provide them with the most recent version of the roster, which might be outdated. But I just so that I answer your question as clearly and accurately as possible. If they were asking for the information of current commission members, their date of expiration of their appointment, and so forth, then with the record not being in existence currently, then the request would be denied on that basis.
If I requested city council minutes and meeting notes regarding appointments and terms, would that then fall under that?
Well, I would want to get clarification from you as far as notes and comments, because certain notes. Because
the minutes of the city council meeting show as such. The point that I'm trying to make, okay,
sure,
and it doesn't take away from all of the tasks that are before us or the elections and so forth, is that we're a public body, and as such, information needs to be provided regarding our role and function, and I think that needs to be passed on accordingly. I'm just sharing it as open information.
And this is Kelly Thompson. I think that I might be getting a little bit technical with my answers because I am the FOIA coordinator and work with this very closely. So I'm hopefully I'm not getting hung up on certain language that Commissioner Jewell is using. I think his general point is well received, though. It is helpful to have updated rosters available should the public request it, or just for the benefit of the commission and planning staff. So I think that the point is received.
Right. If Fred Schlambardino walks into City Hall and says, I understand there's a planning commission that people are appointed. Do you have updated? Can you provide me the information in regards to who they are, what's their term, and what's their expiration information? And if it's been, and I know I was reappointed back in February.
Okay, but
We-
they haven't put that down yet, Rob, so.
Right, and
okay.
we made the request in June. The point that I'm trying to make, and just being detailed, is that if we don't take care of the details, we're not taking care of business. So I just wanted to verbalize that. I just wanted to make sure that we're clear about expectations and the things that are important for us to do our respective job. And I thank you for your listening here.
Okay, and I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna move on. Not having that roster don't mean we're not taking care of business, because we've been here and it's 8:30 right now, and we damn sure been taking care of business. But anyway, let's move on. Orientation booklet.
Yep, and with that, Chairman Wesley, I'll just note that I am very soon going to have to put my kids to bed. So
That's what I'm talking about. Let's move on. Orientation booklet. I know we received the two booklets, which gives an outline of maybe what goes into what we are requesting. I think, Elizabeth showed us the orientation booklet we got when we first came on council, and I think that's what the commissioners are requesting. And I don't know if we can't get to that because we don't have a zoning ordinance, and we're getting new bylaws, and we don't have a marijuana ordinance, which all goes in, and a roster all goes in that orientation booklet. So I think Commissioner Jewell, you had a comment on that?
Yeah, right. I think we need to be clear about the terminologies that we're using. Yes, I, as other commissioners, received 2 booklets. However, our original intent was to put together a planning commission member orientation packet. And that packet was to include a variety of different items, Bob, of which you illustrated. Mm-hmm. I will be returning the 2 booklets that I received back to staff. Staff already has that itemized list of the information that needs to be put together in the packet. I'm operating under the assumption that once all those materials are being put together, that they will be presented as an entire packet, and that time will be scheduled for a walkthrough regarding that information. And that's my understanding of the original discussion weeks and weeks and weeks ago.
Okay. To Bill, you're understanding what we're asking for, or what has been asked for?
Commissioner Wesley, I've understood the amount of information that needs to go in these in the orientation packets that Commissioner Jewell is referring to, and in the lack of that not being stated in the agenda, I apologize for. The booklets were only dropped off so that individuals that didn't have the knowledge or didn't have the booklets, really, they were out there for those. I'm aware that there's a need to make a more comprehensive resource packet. The only thing that I would ask for is some time with the workload that we have at hand.
Okay, Bill, understanding that, also to put that packet together at this point, we might be just a waste of the energy, simply because we don't have a zoning ordinance, and that zoning ordinance goes in that packet. The marijuana ordinance will go in that packet. The bylaws will go in that packet. So for the commissioners that's coming on board, or for all of us old commissioners on board with the new zoning ordinance, we can file through and see, what goes where, and in compliance with our master plan. So,
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I just want to say I wasn't aware that the commission wanted this document, but I think I have a pretty good idea of what we can put together for the commission. So I'll work with Bill on that moving forward.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, we do have the old draft zoning ordinance, and we have the old zoning ordinance, and we do have the proposed new draft zoning order that we submitted. We do have the new marijuana ordinance that we have submitted. So we do have those informations. There's nothing wrong in noting on those particular items to be approved, as well as having the older information. I think there is a need, Mr. Chair, on the behalf of staff to sit down and take a look at what's being asked of them, what's being expected, what's the time frame that they can look at and what they can work on, and how to organize that, and to get back with us or to you as Mr. Chair in regards to a timeline and a time frame. And again, as I shared, I will be returning my 2 booklets back to staff and looking forward to an organized Planning Commission member orientation packet.
Okay. You know, I will work with Suzanne and Corey and Bill because I know they're lifting. They got some heavy lifting going on right now. And if you get that the old zoning and the proposed new zoning, hell, you ain't gonna be able to carry the book. That'll be one that you won't have. But that being said, we'll work on that. And I'm gonna get to the new business, the I-475 plan that I got made aware of at the Get Out the Vote rally with the Lieutenant Governor in office, and I was like a deer in headlights because I didn't know what the heck was going on. So Elizabeth, would you kind of brief us real quickly on your thoughts on that, and I will follow up with my thoughts on it because I couldn't wrap my head around what was happening at the time.
Sure, I could try. I similarly didn't know anything about this proposed project. I don't know if others have seen anything about it, but I had seen an article on MLive. I guess it was just last week, announcing that there was going to be a public meeting held online to discuss a plan to basically fill in I-475. Boundaries were a little bit fuzzy, but it was essentially filling in 475 in the downtown area and turning it into a boulevard there. And I was completely caught off guard by that. So I ended up just sitting in on the session and asking a couple Facebook, like it wasn't really like a public question forum, but I guess you could chat questions if you had them. So I chatted a couple of things, just trying to get a sense of like what kind of engagements occurred to get to this point, and how does this fit in with the capital improvement plan in terms of like priority of different needs in terms of projects that had been identified, and there were other people, I guess, also viewing the Facebook stream, and some were asking questions as well. It was a project that was the presentation was made by Brian Larkin, who's the chief of staff for the city of Flint. And there were a couple of their staff members on hand as well. And then there was also, they were kind of sharing schematics or drawings that had been developed. So, I mean, to me, it kind of spoke to that there's been some effort already at putting together sketches and looking at how to couple this with MDOT investments. And I had a whole bunch of other thoughts and questions that kind of went through my head with that, but I figured that an appropriate place to bring it to the attention would be the Planning Commission, since we kind of do planning, so work with planning. So I just wanted to raise it here for discussion and clarification.
My question, Suzanne, was you aware of any of this? Hello.
I'm sorry. I was I dropped for a little while. I had a problem, but I'm back on. I was not aware of the meeting that was being held. I heard about it, I think, the day before or the day of. same time as some of my other staff had heard about it. I was generally aware of some discussion that I think CS Mott had discussed about I-475 when Kevin Schrontz was still here, because there was a trip I think that Ridgeway sponsored to look at a place. I think it was, I don't want to say for sure. I think it was somewhere out east. It might have been New York, maybe Rochester, to look where something like, pardon me?
They mentioned Rochester. Ridgeway was part of the
Okay.
call. Well, he was part of the panel presenting.
Yeah, so I have heard just kind of in the wind, you know, that there's some interest about this, but it is, I know Kevin was involved in some discussion when he was here. That is actually the last I've heard about that until this came up last week. I did reach out to Brian and you know, ask, you know, that maybe we have a conversation about it. I have not heard back yet from him, but it is something I know that you're interested, Planning Commission, and I do think that there's some overlap between what is being proposed from what I heard and some of our neighborhood planning areas. So I think there's some value to, you know, have those dialogues between members of particularly the neighborhood planning staff and administration, but I don't really have more information beyond that. So I'm continuing to try and get information, and we'll bring it to you as I get it, and then hoping that there will be some coordination between our department and administration on this project.
So, I mean, I've tried to just kind of at this point convey, you know, what was factually shared. I haven't shared my opinion about it at this point, but I guess I can do that right now and just say that it does raise for me a couple of potential concerns. You know, not so much reacting to the idea that's being considered of whether it's a good idea or not a good idea to undertake that project, but some concerns relative to how it's being presented and what that raises, particularly in contrast to the commitment that we made with our master plan for transparency and civic involvement and open participation. You know, it wasn't me who asked the question, but there were people on the chat who said, does the planning department know about this? How is this connected to the master plan? And those are legitimate questions. And I'm kind of surprised that something would have gone that far in the public domain without the head of the planning department being made aware of it. It also, you know, for me, we have a master plan and we've made some commitments around the importance of civic involvement and community engagement. And, you know, it doesn't come across well when ideas that affect that many people have been that far developed without any of the residents seeming to know anything about it.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, it appears to me, if you look at the Enabling Act and our criteria, as well as the role and function of the Planning Commission, as well as our bylaws and the intent of this particular land use project, it only seems appropriate that a meeting be scheduled with you as our chair, because you represent the Planning Commission, as well as with Suzanne and with is it Brian who's chief of staff? If I got that correctly.
He is. He's chief of staff. Yes.
Yeah. That the three of you sit down and meet, do a little clarification of the role of the Planning Commission regarding land use and processing and master plan and so forth, and be able to give us an update at our next regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting.
You know that sounds good and fine, but I remember prior to us working on the master plan, there were several plans developed concerning the master plan that we kind of got hold of prior to working on the master plan. So, I like to, be aware. And I think if they're gonna do something like this, I know they're gonna have to come through us at some point, and I know that we're gonna do our public hearings and notifying folks what's happening. So I don't know, if we need to jump right in there and says, well, this is happening and we wasn't made aware of it. But I think we could probably just send something.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, that's not my intent. My intent is it's not. My intent is for Brian as Chief of Staff and Suzanne, who oversees Planning and Development, and for yourself as Chair of the Planning Commission, to meet to clarify role and responsibilities so that when those informational things start to come about, everybody is aware. So that I, as a planning commissioner, when somebody asks me, Rob, are you aware of this? I can say, it's my understanding that the chair of the planning commission, the director of planning and development, and the chief of staff have met, and they're making sure that lines of communication are kept open. I do not, that's my whole intent. It's called communication. Because if somebody asks me what's going on, I say, I have no idea, and nobody's talking with anybody. As Commissioner Jordan pointed out, perceptions are not helpful. So my intent is purely a recommendation of communication.
Okay. To the other commissioners, do you have any comments or thoughts on this? Commissioner Blower, you still with us?
I am. I too was kind of questioning the whole thing, kind of observing. I know there was discussion at the ZBA meeting last week about it. They were wondering if they had a role in the discussion. Other than that, I've kind of just been observing.
Okay. Commissioner Ryan, was you aware of any of this?
No, I was not aware of it. I'm trying to swallow it now.
I tell you,
but yes, I definitely think we do have a role. But right now, based on what's going on, and just my personal opinion, there's so many things behind the city council is not getting to. At some point, we have to look at an issue of let them catch up, because I know there's all kind of things that's been going on for years that hasn't been addressed. So that's my point of view.
Okay. I guess I can say, Commissioner Jordan, do you have anything you want to add to that? Because I can get.
Yeah, the only thing I would chime in is that part of the framing was that MDOT was in a position to invest some funds in improvements to 475. And if that is the case, then my thought would be it would be appropriate to focus on some sort of public input process about, here are the parameters of how those improvement funds can be invested. What would you like to see within those parameters? And that would be to me a more true to how we do things starting point.
Okay. Suzanne, I know you said you will reach out to Brian, and if I was included in that, or I needed to make a phone call to Brian and say, hey, just open lines of communication as to what's going on, so that we won't, if people are starting to ask us what's happening, we would have some form of conversations that this is a thought process, and then we can get back with them with more information. So.
Yep, I'm happy to do that. I will reach out to Brian, and I think it's very appropriate, Commissioner Wesley, that you be involved in that discussion, and I'm happy to help coordinate that.
Okay, very well. For no further discussion, hey, that brings us to the end of our agenda. And,
I have one, Commissioner, and I have one thing.
New business?
Can we contact the members of the Planning Commission that weren't here this week about our special meeting Wednesday at 5:30 by text?
Yes. Yeah, we will notify those commissioners that wasn't with us tonight about our special
We'll
meeting
handle it.
Wednesday.
Mr. Chair, this is Kelly Thompson.
Yeah,
I will include that in my email to the commissioners when I send out the notification regarding the bylaws. So I'll be sure to include the notification about the special meeting.
okay, very well.
So if a text also needs to be sent, then I'm sure Bill and I can coordinate that as well.
That satisfies your concern, Commissioner Ryan?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Anything else? Any other new business? I don't, that's all on our agenda, and the chair will entertain a motion for adjournment. So that so that Miles and Kenneth can get to bed so they can do school in the morning.
Thank you. We have an early day tomorrow.
Good Lord. Okay, you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good
Have a
night.
great night. Bye-bye.
Who seconded the motion, please? This is Bill. Who seconded the motion, Commissioner Wesley?
I'll second it.
Yeah,
Thank
Commissioner
you.
Jordan second that emotion.
Commissioner Jewell, are you still there?
Yes, I may. Yeah.
If you would please leave that package on your porch tomorrow, I'll be there at 9 o'clock and pick it up for you. Thank you very much. Be glad to do that for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, Bill. Thanks for everything, guys. Appreciate
Good night.